Okay. Any other questions of council?
I have a question. I'd like to know, Jeff, do you happen to know whether the school district was charging for their bus service before they got rid of it?
They were not. I believe they did go through an analysis on what it would take if they charged. I believe the district received some reimbursement from the state for the service, however, not enough to nearly cover their expenses. They still provide the mandated service, especially out into the county for special ed and so forth, but I believe their decision was not to pursue it, that they couldn't charge enough or the fees would be so high that it wouldn't be a feasible option.
I know they did charge athletes, team sports, all had a fee that they had to pay in order to cover the bus service.
Right, but for daily service, I don't believe it was a fee. There may have been a...
Actually, I know when I was a cheerleader, we weren't charged. We weren't charged. They talked about it, and then they ended up not. I know the football players weren't while I was in high school, and I believe even with my brother being in high school, he hasn't been charged any kind of a transportation fee.
I think that may be something that's on the table right now for consideration as well.
Yeah, that may not last very long.
Is one question I have thinking about it is with our large portion of our ridership being to and from school, are there grants that we could seek specifically for student riders or providing ridership for them?
I'm not aware of any direct grants for providing school transportation that a public facility or public operation would be eligible for. If we run across any, we definitely apply. Based on some of the rules of the funding we receive now, we actually can't compete with others that provide school service, such as a school transportation. So it's a real regulated area that we got to be careful in.
Okay.
You ready?
It's time to make a decision here, folks.
Okay. Well, I've been looking at this, and the thing that hits me the most is the fund balance in the year 2009 and 10, where we have zero. That worries me. I see with what is an alternative and an option here of keeping fares down for seniors, and what is recommended is only 25 cents difference. Or actually it's 50 cents difference for the second half of the year. I would suggest to the council that they should consider not doing the two-tiered system, that we try to generate some surplus funds for this account by going straight to the July 2009 amounts and also bumping those up by 25 cents for the youth to 250. I don't like the idea of us subsidizing the school district or bailing them out for their responsibility of providing transportation for their students. I said that the last time this came before us, and I would stick with that. I think that we need to increase these more than what we're doing or what was suggested here, simply because we don't have a fund balance in 2009 and 10. We can always come back later and reduce fares. We could also come back and look at these other options that Ms. Cope has suggested, the validations and the rest of that. But for right now, I would think that it would be far better for the people that actually use the system to pay for the system. And if this is what is necessary, I think it's good reasoning to do something like that. I think that there are some things within the budget that I might disagree with. As I was just checking out the fuel costs in here, and they're pretty much steady for all the estimates, and I think that that's probably wrong. But like I said, I'd rather come back at a later date and look at reevaluating the fees after this is operated for a while, after we've generated a surplus.
Okay. Is that something that
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the council certainly can adjust the rate schedule to whatever it is the council thinks is appropriate. The issue that we have is that the proposed fares were noticed at a certain level, and going beyond that level would give us an issue. If the council is interested in following up on Councilmember Turmel's suggestion, what you might do is, for example, adopt the February rates now and direct staff to come back immediately with another rate increase at the level of whatever it is that you wanted to do in July. And we would renotice
It would
that.
take it to the July.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I did also want to point out, I do show here the zero fund balance right here. However, we do have a 67,000 balance with our projected TDA, which is 10% of our projected operating. So there would still be opportunity to move this funding up and give you a reserve that would carry forward into the next operating year.
But you
So-
also said that you couldn't count on that money, that depending on
It is-
sales tax revenues and everything else, that might disappear.
Right,
And
and
that
if-
worries me.
And that's kind of what's happening here, so that's why we're before you this evening. And the same would be if that started to decrease here, we would definitely be back before you for
Right.
further recommendations.
What was the approximate cost per writer right now?
You're gonna stump
Well,
me.
if
No,
we
we're-
did, yeah, if we did, based upon what I took down, and maybe that's incorrect, if we went to the alternate rates, for students, it would, for one way, it would go from, well, it would be $42 one way, $84.
Oh, no, what I'm asking about is how much does it cost the city, or how much does it cost Ready Ride? Like, the actual figure for how much it
It's
costs,
about-
not how much they would individually be paying.
It varies, but it's, I believe, a little over $8.
It's subsidized.
Yeah,
I
It is definitely
understand. I just
subsidized.
wanted,
if we have a recovery rate of 12 to 15%, yeah, it's
So,
about
yeah.
4 times,
okay.
Right.
maybe a little bit.
Okay.